Please be seated. Good afternoon. I am Mark Holliday, and as Chair-elect of the Board of Trustees and a proud parent of a 2023, I have the honor of welcoming you to today's graduation. Speaking for the board, I extend a warm welcome to all of you joining us for this special occasion, the 169th commencement of Catlin Gabel School. I would like to acknowledge my fellow trustees, particularly my predecessors who chaired Catlin Gabel's board and are with us today. Our immediate past chair, Indra Krishnan. Bart Eberwein. And Eric Rosenfeld. Catlin Gabel has prepared these graduates on stage for taking on the world, and the world will be better off because of them. While they may scatter around the globe as they embark on their new adventures, I hope they will continue to be curious, courageous, and empathetic learners who make a positive difference in the world in big and small ways, while carrying their friend Douglas Eberwein's kind and generous spirit with them wherever they go. Before we officially begin, I would like to thank Catlin Gabel's incredible faculty and staff. Thank you for not only being inspiring educators and role models, but also world-class partners in this roller coaster journey of parenthood. For that and much more, we thank you. For a class that spent half of their upper school on Zoom or social distancing 6 feet apart, I hope you will join me in gratitude that we are together today as we celebrate the class of 2023. Please join me in welcoming our fearless leader, head of school, Tim Bazemore.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this wonderful, wonderful occasion. Parents, guardians, grandparents, family, friends, thanks for the travel. Those of you who came into Portland from distance, we appreciate that. And congratulations, we're almost there, class of 2023. And I want to say thanks to Mark Holliday for his service as a trustee and welcome him into his new role as chair-elect. Thank you, Mark. And I also want to thank Indra Krishnan, who has been our fearless leader board chair for the past 3.5 years and a partner to me and to all of us who work here at Catlin Gabel and to all of you. 3.5 very complicated years. She's been extraordinary as our board chair. Thank you, Indra. So a few years ago, maybe more than a few years ago, I went to my 25th high school reunion in Connecticut. And at dinner that night, we were sitting, with some people that I knew really well and some people in my class I didn't know quite so well. And one of the latter leaned over and said, "Hey, Tim, I remember you were a big football jock in high school." And I thought, I was a little puzzled. I mean, I played football, but I was like the second-string cornerback who only got on the field for kickoffs. So I wasn't quite sure what that meant. And then another classmate leaned in and said, "I remember you were always in the dean's office." And I thought, I remembered a couple times I made some bad decisions and I had to have a conversation with Mr. White, but always? Like, that didn't seem quite right. So why am I telling you this? Because being a football jock or a disciplinary problem is not how I view my high school self at my 25th reunion or now. And yet 25 years after graduating, that was how some of my classmates sort of had me pegged. I don't blame them for having a narrow concept of who I was at the time. It's the human condition to be reductive, to generalize, and we're all too complex and too nuanced to have a very specific sense of everyone's identity, even in the class you've spent many years with. And identity is more dynamic than static as well, so it's a little elusive in that sense. The concept of identity is a powerful topic these days, as politicians and parents around the country argue over whether their children, argue over whether children or adolescents should be able to define their own identity. Identity-based perspectives are shaping civic dialogue in ways that both liberate us and limit us. Identity is serving as a refuge and as a call to action. And identity is also quite a personal topic for all of you on stage with us here today. Because all adolescents go through what psychologist Erik Erikson called an identity crisis that leads to an integrated awareness and knowledge about oneself. Because your identity is a complex blend, right, of who you think you are, who you believe you are, and who you believe others want you to be or expect you to be. And when you were young, lower school, middle school, young children, early adolescents really struggle to integrate that internal and external awareness and make that a whole sense of self. But part of adolescence is that you actually now understand how these perceptions interact and define your identity, and that you actually control that process. You get that now. You didn't get that when you were in third grade. So in your time at Catlin Gabel, you may have felt compelled to adopt or announce your identity in all kinds of different ways, out of a sense of pride or affiliation or necessity. You may have done that by gender or race or class or musical taste or activities or friends, or probably a combination of all those at various times. And you may have chosen to highlight or hide aspects of your identity based on the setting, the situation, and your sense of safety. All of us in the room here experience what Jerome Bruner calls this internal clamor of identities. The process of aligning or synthesizing who you are, who you want to be, and how you're perceived is an important part of growing up, and it's also a lifelong process, as every adult in this room knows. We're still working on it. And you probably can already reflect a little bit on how your identity evolved or shifted over your time at Catlin Gabel, sort of personally, in your quiet moments, but also as a member of this class here as well. Each of you, each of these wonderful young people, is a dynamic work in progress. Your teachers, your classmates, your families have supported your journey to self-understanding, and we hope self-definition. I also hope we taught you to embrace a positive concept of your identity. In other words, you're defining yourself by who you are, not by who you are not. So class of 2023, you've written the high school chapter. It ends here today. You're known here for who you have been here. Who will you be in your next chapter? This fall and beyond. How much will you let others or invite others to define who you are? Your identity is going to develop in complex and unpredictable ways in the years ahead. But always remember, it's yours. Right? It's yours to create, not someone else's. Okay. When you come back for your 25th reunion, which I hope you all do, I haven't figured out which year that is yet, but when you come back for your 25th reunion, it may be surprising to hear who your classmates think you were. I know it'll be rewarding to tell them who you've become. Congratulations. And now I would like to introduce Ben Rosenfeld, who will share a school recitation.
Thanks, Tim. I will be reciting Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 13, King James Version. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy, and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains, and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Charity never faileth, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now, we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three, but the greatest of these is charity. Now, please welcome my classmate and good friend, Harrison Bell, to introduce our keynote speakers.
Thank you, Ben. Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us to celebrate this exciting milestone. I landed on this campus 14 years ago with about a dozen of the students you see behind me. Our pre-K class of 18 that started in 2009 has grown, and most would say greatly improved each year since then. In September 2010, we welcomed 18 new students to the Catlin Gabel Beginning School for kindergarten. 2 of those new members were twins that set the Fir Grove on fire with their giggles, charm, and energy. Those twins were Douglas and Hayden Epperwine. Not long after meeting the boys, they became my closest friends. Through long bike rides in Black Butte, to many midnight gaming sessions, to briefly losing track of my sister on the beaches of Costa Rica. It's been a great ride with the Epperwine family. I am so lucky to have had them in my life for all of these years. I would bet my last dollar that not one of us from the class of 2023 would argue over which of our families was the most outgoing and most generous to our class. The Epperwines hosted us time and time again for back-to-school parties, birthday parties, pool parties, and parties just because. This class would not be as unified as we are without them. They made so many of us feel like an extension of their family. However, our class is missing one of our strongest links, Douglas Epperwine. He should be on the stage today. The loss of Douglas just over 2 years ago rocked our class, school, and community. He made a mark on everyone he touched, and we are all better people because of him. We will all carry a piece of Douglas with us as we disperse around the world and keep his kind, special spirit alive. The Epperwine family has given their all to this school, from sending a fortune teller to lower school Halloween parties, shout out Jill, to chairing our school's board of trustees. It seems more than fitting to have them speak to us today. We thank them for their amazing contributions to Catlin Gabel, but most importantly, for the gift of Douglas and Hayden. Without further ado, it is my distinct honor to welcome Jill, Bart, and Hayden Epperwine back to campus and to the stage.
Thank you, Harrison. Hello, old friends. Some of you I've known since I was 5 years old. Hello to the whole class of 2023 and your loved ones who are here. Wow, class of 2023. How long have we been identified by that? A date that seemed eons away, and now here you are. Even after I left Catlin, after 8th grade to try my luck at a different high school, we maintained such great friendships, and for that, I am so thankful. Today, I am honored, along with my mom and dad, to have been invited to speak to you at your graduation. I'm Hayden Eberwine, but I want to talk to you guys today as my brother Douglas would have if he were up here. He never even shouted another school. He knew Catlin Gabel was the best place for him. When we were asked to be up here, I felt that his voice might be more what you guys want to hear. And I can do this. I shared a womb with my brother. We kicked each other around some, my mother would say. Then a bedroom for 12 years. We had that twin thing growing up, our own language, a strong sense of where the other one was, what they were thinking. First, he would want you to know that he is not really gone, that his spirit lives, and he is in Cabell with us because he is being remembered. Because he lives in your love for him, for each other. He lives in your love for me. He'd want to thank you for that. There are a lot of thank yous that he didn't get to say because of the way he went. To his teachers who made learning fun, he loved you. To the people who made the rules here, because there weren't many, and he liked that. He liked having agency and freedom to roam campus. He liked that he could be himself, just Douglas, not posing, and be accepted. He liked feeling that he belonged at Catlin. And he'd like to thank his friends in the audience for their constant support. He was the happiest when he was hanging out with you guys. He would want to say thank you to the kids who transferred into Catlin, the non-lifers. Thank you for bringing your new perspectives, your new attitudes, your new styles. We sure were ready for news from the outside world. Thank you for becoming good friends. He would say, whatever obstacles you face, be hopeful, and remember, kindness is the great cure. And he would say, wherever you are going after Catlin, please take me with you. Here's my mom.
Thanks, Hayden. And hello to the class of 2023 and all of your loved ones. Please come with me a quick walk down memory lane. For our family, it's mostly memories because we're not here to see our son graduate with you, so we hold on to our memories. They're fresh in our minds and they're good memories. I'm Jill Eberwine, mother of Hayden, who just spoke, and Douglas, whose spirit is here with us today. Today I'm thinking about Friday Sings, learning to be eagles and what it means to be one, Disco Fridays, coursework on the birds and bees, and that was even in lower school. Year after year, the teachers said what an extraordinary class the class of 2023 was. Kind, respectful, earnest students with a strong desire to learn. Middle school with wheelbarrows full of homework and watching our children start to bloom into citizens of the world. So many great teachers, staff, coaches. And then high school, shepherded by the Catlin culture that requires so much, but prepares you so well for what's ahead. Dotted along the way were so many fun community-building activities, sports, dramas, musical performances, can't forget revels, art exhibits, outdoor education trips, class field trips, ski bus, global trips. Our annual class camping trip that started way back in kindergarten. Thank you, Zoe and Van. Every August, gathering for a long weekend and providing the opportunity for the kids to get to know one another more deeply and parents to connect with parents. Such a nice way for kids joining the class to get to know other kids before school started. No better way than around a campfire to forge friendships. Our family, as Harrison said, had the privilege of hosting multiple parties for your class. And one of the annual ones that we did every year, of course, was the week before school started. These gatherings helped break the ice, calm the first day of school jitters, and build bonds. We had a front row seat to watching you grow and mature into amazing young adults. You were becoming stronger, taller, more handsome, and more beautiful versions of yourselves. Stretching into your own hobbies and interests, and in many ways becoming individuals. But you never lost that common bond, that goodness and sweetness that you had when we first met you. You always had each other's backs. You showed that when Douglas got sick. You were communicating with him in the hospital on Snapchat, Discord, TikTok, sending these amazingly sweet video collages of each of you letting Douglas know that you were thinking of him and wishing him the strength to hang on and wishing him a quick recovery. He was so touched by your concern. A large group of you visit Douglas's gravesite every year at his birthday and the anniversary of his death, arm in arm, letting him and us know that he is remembered. Please keep doing that if you can. To wrap up, of course, we wish that Douglas was here today in person accepting his diploma. He always said, I know upper school at Catlin will be really hard, but if I can make it, I think I can get into a good college, like all of you have. Catlin and all of you were his world. Today, I want to echo what Hayden said. We ask and hope that each of you will take Douglas's spirit with you wherever your next adventure takes you. We know you will all be great leaders with strong values and will shape the world around you into a better place. Our family wishes you all the best of luck and much success. Thank you.
Thank you, Hayden. Thank you, Jill. Love you guys. I'll turn this around. Permission and forgiveness to talk to these guys for a second. Okay. So like Jill said, you guys have done something really, really great. Catlin set the academic bar high, right? That comes with the territory. Additionally, you had COVID to navigate, and it hit like a sandstorm. None of us could see anything in front of us, and it would have been so easy to slow down, to get lost. But I get the feeling that class of 2023 doesn't do easy. You worked on your studies and your extracurriculars. You leaned on each other during COVID, and you came out stronger on the other end. And the world came busting into Catlin in your tenure here. Turbulent social changes. Talk about experiential learning. We adults handed you an imperfect world, and we said, basically, let's figure this out. We didn't have an answer. And you became our teachers on equity. You became our teachers on sustainability, on gender identification. We watched as you took on all kinds of complicated social stuff, fearlessly and hopefully. And on top of all of that, you lost a beloved teacher in middle school, Ann Fifield, and a classmate, Douglas, in your sophomore year. And you picked up pieces of your grief and you showed us that love is stronger than death. Thank you for that. Thank you. You accomplished greatness here, all sorts of ways, under all sorts of circumstances. Graduating from Catlin Gabel, that gives you a solid hit in the game of life. It's an amazing, amazing strike. Boom. Congratulations and enjoy your summer. And then, what do you do when you get a solid hit? I'm going to try to break down the fourth wall a little bit here. You go past first base and you keep going, right? It's a metaphor, so even if you're not a sports fan, I need your help on this. When I give you a signal, just 2 words, keep going. Can you do it? I'll say, because I'm going to use it a few times, but I need a little backbone on it. So second base is college. Maybe 4 years and off to work, or maybe you're going to hang around and get a PhD. Regardless, you are so well prepared. Your teachers have taught you to be critical thinkers, unbelievable test takers, and I've heard you speak. You're excellent at presenting your ideas. You're going to be so able to show your professors how smart you are. That's not what's written here. It just snuck out. As Catlin students, I'm going to make up for it. As Catlin students, you will stand out from all the other smart kids in college because of that superpower stuff you've learned here. Your muscle memory for curiosity, your muscle memory for empathy. You don't have to study that stuff. You're taking it with you. You're going to sail through college. Here we come. And then what do you do? Yeah. Yes, I needed that. Okay, that's right. Third base. Most of you after college, you're headed for some sort of career, right? Right? Thank God you went to Catlin, because success at work, no matter what field you're in, is all about relationships. And Catlin's your proving ground. You've got extraordinary collaboration skills to work across differences. It's huge. You're comfortable with diversity. You're innately team players. So squint and look into the future with me. Now you've got a successful career. And then what do you do in the game of life? You keep going. Yes. And boy, do you have role models for that. Behind me are adults with incredibly full lives. They've already crossed home plate, so to speak. They could have stayed home, but they answered the bell. Giving, helping in the classrooms, going to PFA meetings. You saw them, joining committees, being there for other parents. We felt that. Making Catlin Gabel better. So I guess a home run in life is when you get to do what? Yeah, there's no home plate. There's no home plate. Keep going, because there's always something to do to make the world a better place, and that's how community is built. You and your families added your spirit to the Catlin community. You changed this place. You made it a better place. And you will take Catlin's spirit with you. That's the masterwork of Catlin Gabel. You give your beating hearts, and you get back muscles in your legs to keep going. Catlin alumni, almost. Hayden and Jill and I are so proud to know you. So happy to have shared so many memories with you. Thank you for letting us see Douglas up here. We see him. It's hard to say goodbye to you, but you got someplace to go. So get going and keep going, and we love you, and thank you.
Good job, Dad.
Hello, this is it. Okay, it's working, yes. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here today. My name is Malcolm Grant. I'm part of the class of 2023. And I'm going to be singing a song for you today from a musical, which some of you may have actually seen on this stage. Last year, we put on a production of A Chorus Line, and this is a song from that musical called What I Did for Love. Kiss today goodbye, the sweetness and the sorrow. Wish me luck the same to you, but I can't regret what I did for love, what I did for love. Look, my eyes are dry. The gift was ours to borrow. It's as if we always knew. And I won't forget what I did for love, what I did for love. Gone ourselves what we'll remember. Kiss today goodbye and point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love. What I did for love. What I did for love. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Aline Garcia-Review. I'm the head of the upper school, and I'm just here to introduce Akira van der Grunendahl, who's the class speaker for the class of 2023.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're not tired of hearing this, but on behalf of my class, thank you all for coming out here tonight and making the time to celebrate with us today. High school graduation marks an important milestone in our lives. Not only does it represent the culmination of many late nights and early mornings, tears, lots of tears, shed both in joy and in grief, and our hard work these 4 years in the upper school. Graduation symbolizes an ascent into adulthood. As I said, this is a great reason to be celebrating. And yet I'm sure that everyone here feels the last moments we will spend as high schoolers will be bittersweet. Just underneath the joy and excitement in the air lies the knowledge that soon many of us will be scattering, leaving home, maybe going to new cities, states, or even countries. After today, there will be no more hacky sack in the quad, no more rushing to fit in a trip to the little store or Chipotle during short lunch, no more cheese touches or high fives from first graders, no more homecomings or state championships, or even just heated games of basketball and spike ball in Schaff. No more fall plays or club meetings. Who knows, we might even start missing the barn prices and assemblies about parking. Graduation is both a beginning and an ending of a chapter in our lives, a transition. It's a marker and a celebration of change. Here we are, ready to step forward, anxious for what lies ahead. Definitely excited, and maybe a little scared. Are we truly ready to shoulder the growing burdens that are bound to find us? I want you all to look back to around 4 years ago at this time. We were all graduating middle school, steeling ourselves for something terrifying yet exciting. We were at the top of the middle school food chain, but we gave up that standing in a matter of hours, once again preparing to be little fish in a new pond. Of course, the first day of ninth grade was a bundle of nerves. New students like me had to navigate a totally new environment. And I actually had to use my campus map, no joke. Those who came up from the middle school had to acclimate to all of us new kids suddenly being dropped on your heads. Sorry about that. And we all had to find our place amid changing schedules, course loads, and overall expectations. I can't even remember how many times we had lounge privileges taken away because we left the place dirtier than my COVID bedroom. And honestly, that's saying something. Although I'd like to say we kept our lounge privileges for the rest of the year, we'll really never know because an extended spring break due to COVID turned into over a year of remote learning. Adapting to Zoom classes, dealing with occasionally not so stellar Canvas pages, and stopping ourselves from watching TikTok during class were just a few burdens we rose up to. Throughout those months, we learned how to take care of ourselves, even when most of the things keeping us afloat were suddenly ripped away. We learned how to rely on each other, even when we could not be physically close. Soon enough, though, after a thankfully brief period of hybrid classes, most of us were back in person. Things were looking up. We got to spend the end of our sophomore year together as we got ready to claim our titles as upper class people. Again, though, our trials would not be over. On April 8th, 2021, this community lost Douglas Eberwine, a living friend, best friend, a disciplined teammate and curious classmate, a determined adventurer, kind-hearted and valiant. This was the first time death felt like something real, bring with it a sharp sense of absence. And this is a weight we've grown to carry with us every day, that we've risen up to. Douglas, thank you for every smile you've shown us, every joke you've told, every meme you've sent. We love you and we miss you, but we promise to carry you forward with us every day. Following this, I'm proud to say our class made it through junior year. We made leaps as writers and artists, also honing our skills as scientists and engineers. Not only that, but we grew as thinkers and change makers, striving to critique and improve ourselves and our environments, all the while juggling the knowledge that college apps were looming over the horizon. When they inevitably arrived, we met stress and sleepless nights not with helplessness, but with experience. Continuing to carry all the burdens and joys we've picked up along the way with grace. And so here we are again, at a graduation ceremony. Only this time we're preparing not for the beginning of high school, but what lies afterwards. I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say I would not be who I am or where I am today without all of you. Over these years, we've been able to grow from all the obstacles thrust in front of us, and we will continue to do so in the future. Along those lines, I want all of us to remember to embrace change, especially as we move toward another transition in our lives. And if you maybe ever feel hopeless or stagnant, don't be afraid to drive change. You've painstakingly developed these skills. Trust in them. Now, I know I just gave you guys a whole speech about welcoming change and all that, but I think we can all agree we wish some things would just kind of stay as they are. Accordingly, I'd like to start off by thanking the faculty here at Catlin. And though I'll admit you can all feel invisible to us students at times, your work makes returning to school every day seamless. Grounds people, thank you for keeping the classrooms clean and the campus safe. And we apologize for that little car on the grass incident up by the quad. IT, thank you for keeping all of our equipment working and for sometimes dealing with our maybe little silly computer issues. Sue and Derek, thank you for organizing all of our resources, both online and offline. Admin, thank you for keeping this whole operation running mostly smoothly and trying your best to help it stay that way, even with a bunch of teenagers running around. Teachers and advisors, thank you for sharing our successes in the good times and for being steadfast in your advice and support when things got rough. With you, we might have shared some of our biggest dreams or deepest fears. Thank you for taking them seriously and for treating them with care. Thank you for your patience and willingness to answer any number of questions, and we see your desire to go above and beyond for all of us. Next, I'd like to thank our siblings. Thank you for putting up with all of our BS all these years and sticking it out regardless as a best friend. Although we've had our disagreements, I know we will always have each other's backs. And to Caden, my little brother, I hate to say it, but I am proud that you are finally better than me at video games. Hopefully, Mom and Dad aren't too hard on you while I'm gone. Speaking of course, thank you, Mom and Dad. And on behalf of my class, thank you to all of our parents, guardians, and families for always loving us and always wanting the best for us, even when we might not have seen it at times. I know we can be a handful, but I truly hope that when you see us, you feel proud knowing that you were the ones that raised us. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to all of you sitting here on stage with me. When we look at each other, we might see our friends or teammates, people we've known only for a few years, or those we met before we could walk. We might see arguments or pain that have yet to fade away, or we might see how those conflicts brought us together, stronger than before, just like all the challenges and triumphs we as a class have shared. No longer are we the same ninth graders losing lounge privileges because we left it dirty, and no longer are we the same lower schoolers calling each other names. We still steal each other's food, though. I'll say this for all of us. It's been a pleasure getting to know and grow up with you all, whether that means starting from preschool or just this year. As we move forward with this graduation and celebration of change, I want to reiterate my assertion that we should not only embrace but drive change. In addition to that, however, I want to emphasize how amid all the changes we've experienced, one thing that's held true is our community. Over the years, all the people here have relied on and supported each other. And even as we may find ourselves in new communities wherever we go, I hope this will stay true. So, to my fellow graduates, embrace change. But if it gets a little tiring, remember we have a community here to fall back on.
Thank you, Akira. Every member of the class of 2023 has satisfied the requirements for graduation from Catlin Gabel School. So it is, congratulations. So it is my honor to invite up to the stage to help in the awarding of diplomas our outgoing board chair, Indra Nalakrishnan, our head of upper school, Aline Garcia Rubio. Thank you. And I would also like to thank Kim Herbst, who will be helping us in the awarding of diplomas, as well as Tracy Kiyama, who will be reading the names today. Thank you.
Ben Rosenfeld. Chloe Caroline Janke. Owen Matsumura Cooper. Cynthia Yang. Stella Carol Alvarez. Grayson Quan Witzel Lazarus. Harrison Franklin Bell. Alara Aaron Lane. Bennett Marshall McNeil. Charlotte Long. Claire Elizabeth Ann Williams. Brinley Sienna Tate. Nadia Wang Ang Pwazak Nguyen. Anna Alba Farhang. Masley Stana Mayer. Ryan Zhenhong Zhan. Thea Captain. Elisa Maite Sanchez. Nia Ramat Say. Gabriel Jonah Korngold. Colette Josephine Hyde. Cole Grant. Joshua Robert Wiltz. Audrey Karp. Oliver James Francis Tannehill. Soren Nichols Cowell Shaw. Sage Ella Petroselli. Sophia Elizabeth Ariel Michael. Bradley Eddington. Paul Peter Ortner V. Margot Alice Camp. Megan Gwynn Selden. Jane Ziegler. Cam Curry. Tatum Sage Chase. Jack Sampson Beckerman. Lucas George Holliday. Reese Ella Hart. Malcolm Sterling Grant. Hannah Kim Bowes. Akira Vandergrenendel. Miron Sergeyevich Smolin. Charles Fan Zeal. Kaola Quinn Edelin Hare. Colin James Turner. Roman Zuberi. Ansel Benjamin Wallace. Maddie Malati O'Brien. Grace Elizabeth Mueller. Willa Francis Wayland Stewart. Mackenzie Elizabeth Compton. Armon Hill Manternack. Parth Mahajan. Audrey Lara Hebert. Zoe Kirsten Tan Kalora. Samuel Sungmo Bailey. Emma Kathleen Shields. Vigo Che Sufuentes. Alexander Michael Pruksch. Lily Susanna Wand. Carter Taishi Leong. Barrett Burnham. Lottie Jackson Malcolmus. Dylan Thomas Beckett. Micah Alexander Pouch. Lucas Dates Carlson. Karina Sophia Gadbaugh. Emma Cecilia Miller. Maxim Jae-yun Kim. Elsa Immergut McDermott. George Jackson Pritchard.
Good afternoon. And congratulations again to all of you who are here witnessing and celebrating the graduates. It's a little weird to not really see you. I had the honor of spending the early part of this week with them, with this group, on their class trip. And what I saw has kept me in that peculiar raw state that one gets into when life feels really rich and big, because the people in it are doing good things and we get to witness them. This group of people, you all, a little sleep deprived, a little dirty, and a little uncomfortable due to the high density of the 12 bunks in one tiny cabin situation, amongst other things. They kept embracing each other, literally and figuratively, over the course of the trip. It was an extraordinary thing, even though camp by the river with friends might seem like something like ordinary living. They played games, as 5-year-olds play games, with the sole purpose to be and be joyful. And they spoke with people that they hadn't spoken to, sometimes for months. They acknowledged each other's presence, looking each other in the eye. And they were open to whatever came their way. River drifting, giant marshmallows. The marshmallows were accompanied by some absurd campfire songs. Rap battles in standing room only dark cabin number 1, letter writing, and just being in the presence of each other. It became clear to me over the course of those 2.5 days that they were actually ready to graduate because they appear ready to love well. They are also ready because through their hard work, they've grown their brains deliberately. They can think critically, as Bart said. They can make decisions, resolve big questions, and learn anything they put their heads to. Their readiness isn't solely their work. You, the parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, and friends in the room, and those who are witnessing from afar. You have celebrated and scaffolded just about every day of these young people's lives. Serving spinach and having the right lemonade in the fridge, coming to campus for the musical, driving to the bookstore to fetch that next chapter book, providing experiences and embrace late-night advice and careful listening. There are many, many adults who supported quietly and loudly at basketball games, for sure, at the doctor's office, and while college acceptances and rejections came through the invisible lines of the internet. Graduates, for real graduates now, since you have your diplomas. Your family present in this room has helped you get here. They too deserve recognition and celebration. Parents and grandparents, friends and extended family, I am grateful for your support of these students. Dearest faculty, would you please stand up? Mia, could you turn on the lights on the balcony so we can see you and the rest of the faculty? Students, please focus on that group of people for a minute. Their knowledge and their skills, their care and generosity, their humor and their dedication have been essential in your building your mind and your hearts. They've selected your readings and read your writing. They've invited you to take risks. They've challenged and cheered you and given you advice every day for 4 years, for some even longer than that. Colleagues, thank you for your constant effort, for supporting these growing people in their academic work, but also through their dilemmas, their wins and their losses, their difficult days, and their outstanding days too. Jay, Tracy, Bill, Liz, Aaron, thank you for your time at our school. Can we give another round of applause? Graduates, every year I sit down to think about what ideas I want to share with you on this day, and I return to similar themes and a variety of authors and mentors who provide wisdom to me, which I've tried to absorb and live by. I pass this on to you because I wish for you a rich and good life, a life that you are aware of while you're in it, and one in which you will feel fulfilled. This year is no different. The credit for my words goes to Karen Spearling and John Muth, Steve Hagen, Pema Chodron, Tracy McMillan Cotton, who, by the way, if you haven't read her, you need to read her. I'll write it down for you. And Arthur Brooks. So my first piece of advice is this. Grow your ability to be comfortable with your discomfort. I know you have all noticed that life is uncomfortable sometimes. Sometimes because people sit on chairs with their wet swimsuits on, and you subsequently have to occupy those wet spots, leaving your bottom all soaked. Sometimes life is difficult because we have essays to write and a job and chores to complete with insufficient time to attend to each of these. Sometimes we become alienated from our friends, or they make choices that we disagree with. And sometimes our friend or our teacher dies, and our heart breaks open, and it stays a bit cracked. Life is hard, and you will need to work hard to get through it. You will especially need to work hard if you want to grow. None of us grow through easy things. You know that by now. The work of jobs, of college, and of relationships will inevitably bring you some pain. I can guarantee you that much. When discomfort or suffering comes up, I suggest that you choose to see your struggle from a deliberately chosen perspective. You have choice. Look, every single one of us is writing a storyline in our heads pretty much constantly. That's that inner dialogue that says something like, oh, I deserve matcha mochi because it's my birthday, but I think my girlfriend doesn't know me well enough because she got me a large-sized mocha instead. This must mean she doesn't love me. I feel unseen and unknown. The facts are clear. The perspective, however, is chosen. We all have internal monologues, like I said, just about constantly. Sometimes these are stories of being hurt or other people being too tall or too green or too calloused or too frivolous or too human. My point is that the storyline could be different, or maybe it actually is. My point is that our storylines have blind spots, and often they lead to false conclusions. My bigger point is that you can take a different angle and rewrite again and again. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see or feel a different perspective. Maybe you'll find one that serves you well most of the time. How do you want your storylines to be written and to end? They will define your experience and the world you see. And in this, you have agency and choice. Sometimes I can't find an alternate storyline for myself. I get stuck. And then I remember this story in which a farmer visits a great teacher seeking wise help, because like all of us, he has some problems and he believes that the teacher can help. He shares that sometimes there's a drought and his crops die, and then the next year it rains too much and the ground is soggy and the fields don't yield sufficiently. He has a good wife whom he loves very much, but sometimes she nags at him and he gets annoyed by her. And he has good kids, but sometimes they don't show him enough respect. So the great teacher listens patiently, takes his time, then he responds to the farmer by saying, "I can't help you." And this is astonishing to the farmer. Then the teacher adds, "We all have 83 problems, each one of us. 83 problems, and there is nothing that we can do about that." He then explains that when we solve one problem, another pops up, and another. The farmer is furious when hearing this. But then the teacher says, "Maybe I can help you with your 84th problem." And the farmer asks, "What's the 84th problem?" "That you want to have no problems." I don't mean to be negative here. Despite the 83 problems that each of us have, everybody in this room, We humans repeatedly experience true happiness. Sometimes we feel like we're going to burst with joy, and our chests swell, and we just feel so alive. And today may be one of those days for you. That usually happens in outstanding moments. Those salient events making like that three-point shot at the last second, or singing and dancing with abandon in the company of friends, or joining in the cheer for Sage and Dylan and Anna on stage, or for Cole when he reached that end of the leg wrestling match. But our more constant happiness, our contentment perhaps, happens when we look for what's remarkable in our everyday experiences. When we embrace the limitations of our routines, but we stop to feel the cool breeze, to taste our tea. When we hear the regular and the predictable noise of the kitchen sink, when we really hear it, and then we connect it to our family and our home. That requires that you stay attentive, that you be fully present, that you hear, that you listen, that you touch. The only place you can be in is this one. Be in it, even if it's uncomfortable. That is reality with a capital R, truth with a capital T. Which leads to my second suggestion. Do things in connection with others. The society we collectively created is becoming more and more individualistic. This is not inherently negative, but it's actually somewhat of a false concept. Our individual existence in isolation is empty. We make it full in the presence of other people. We are interdependent and we form a whole. Everyone in this room, plus Annie, is part of your whole. Please heed this. We become our best selves in the company of others. That is why we gather. It is through connection, through love, that we become happier. It is through our love of others that we can create harmony and compassion. It is through love that you will find fulfillment. I know that sometimes you're annoyed by others. Most of our annoyances have to do with people, though sometimes a zipper just gets stuck and buses stall in the snow or socks go missing. The thing is, though, that those people with their 83 problems are also in the state of discomfort. Sometimes they have a broken heart. They surely are walking around with a storyline, just like you and I are. And it is only through connection that we can see past those annoyances, that we can truly see each other, and it becomes easy to overlook that they chew their gum really loudly, or that they ate our sandwich, or that they spoke too softly. Let me emphasize this. If you want to be happier, if you want to be happy, love others. As Brooke says, love is a commitment. It's not a feeling. You have to return to it, as you return to anything that you are committed to. You train, you practice, like singing, like playing soccer. You return to the field, you return to the task of loving. Sometimes you get hurt, and you stand up, and you try again. Love requires that you cultivate what you want to grow. Like a tiny Douglas fir that sprouted not too long ago, you must water and tend to people and relationships. With commitment. That's what's required. I'm not just talking about romantic love, though. And I highly recommend finding a life companion and friends to connect with. I want to propose that you love others through your work. Your work, whether you're roasting ribs or writing books or running a company or acting or negotiating high diplomacy, it should express your love. You have an opportunity to love others through your work. You especially, with your well-trained minds and your foundation of knowledge, you can love through your work, like your teachers love you. This requires that you hold up your values and that you always do your best. In one of my favorite children's books, the main character is a giant bear whose name is Stillwater. He's been summoned in prior graduation speeches. Stillwater, who speaks with a slight panda accent, and likes to climb big trees and drink tea, has a young friend whose name is Michael. Michael skateboards, and sometimes he wears yellow shorts. Stillwater is wise. And often, still. In one of those stories, Michael asks Stillwater a question. I'm going to be in a spelling bee, Michael says. What would you do if you were in a spelling bee? I would spell words, says Stillwater. And then Michael looks at his shoes. What if you weren't sure of how good you were? I'm anxious about that. I feel like I'm going to mess up. Do your best. That is what you're supposed to do, said Stillwater. But it's hard to do my best when I'm nervous, said Michael. Stillwater nodded. And then he smiled. Yeah, it's hard. And we all get anxious. And we all get nervous. And yet, do your best. That is what you're supposed to do. I will add, if you're wondering what your best is, the secret is to dedicate yourself to excellence in what you do and to love others through your work. That will be more than enough. We become our best selves not in the highly optimized success or winning orientation of the ambitious world, but in the acts that fulfill being outstanding. Like when Tracy plays the drums, or when Bill bakes a cake, or when Malcolm sings. In the act that brings us into our existence through love. If you're wondering what your work is, it is exactly what's in front of you. Sometimes that means sweeping the floor, sometimes it means accompanying your grandmother to church, sometimes it means applying science to solve a puzzle. Sometimes you must make art, or pet your dog, or unplug the toilet bowl. Most often, your job requires attending to the people in front of you, or to those who will be affected by your task. So, grow your capacity to be uncomfortable. And by the way, this is a lifetime endeavor. It will take as long as your entire life. And do things in connections with others and with love. And my last message to you is to nurture your creativity. We humans are making creative creatures. We were all artists, right until our internal police started telling us that we should stop, that we were not good at that self-expression thing, at dancing or watercoloring or shaping clay or writing with our imagination. For many of us, this is true for me, at some point in our lives, fear settled cozily to share our seat in this life, whispering in our ear that we weren't good enough. So we curtailed our self-expression, and for many of us, our existence narrowed. But in making, in creating, we know ourselves and we expand our experience. And life is way more interesting with your creative energy in it. Each of you is absolutely brilliant in your own way. Absolutely brilliant in your own way. I mean that. Each of you is worth listening to, worth reading, worth knowing. I propose that through your creativity, in whatever form it takes, you can cultivate your capacity for discomfort and connect with others. Let the world see you. Let that internal police, which is really fear in uniform, accompany you to all the interesting places that creativity can take you. Fear and self-expression, by the way, often come together like double pop popsicles. As you enter this life of adulthood and independence, I hope you'll find that little path, that way to interesting things. Let your creativity take you there. That sounds a little passive, though, so I'm going to rephrase. Practice expressing yourself in some way. Do it with courage and dedication. You are worth seeing. And we want to see you. Every single one of you. We are very proud to see you. Congratulations. Here they are again. Oh.